Spooktober.
Welcome to Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, brought to you by Blue Microphones. They look great. They sound even better. And you know who I am?
Slow down, Andy.
Yeah.
Don't you hurt yourself.
That's good advice.
Or you go to the Glue Factory.
I don't know. Sounds tempting.
Slow down, Andy.
You wouldn't mind retiring to the old glue factory?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Sometimes it sounds...
It's gotten to that point.
Yep. I don't want to slow down. I don't feel like it. So don't tell me what to do, because you know me, I'm your buddy, Andy, America's little brother. As always, joined by that man over there. Look at him stretch. Look at him. Oh,
I got to stretch.
He is comfortably dressed. Nice hoodie, pants combo.
Yeah, tis the season.
Yeah, well, let's see what you can do in that outfit. Oh, yeah, he can do it. Polka dancing his way across the podcast studio.
Oh, my drawstring came loose.
Oh, boy, his pants are down. His pants are down. Everyone turn your attention away.
Stop the music. Oh,
pull the curtain.
All right.
Oh, gosh. A nude man on the show. What a way to start your Monday.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to have you.
So good to be had.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to your immediate left, a man who just can't get enough celery.
Oh, so green and so crunchy.
Wow.
Jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
Did I say earlier about how we hit rock bottom? I was wrong.
A new one?
Yeah, we've sunk even lower.
That was the one I texted you guys about.
The dumbest ever?
Oh, okay.
I can't not do this.
Yeah. It came to you, and you felt compelled to do it. What was, you said, oh, so green, and what was the
So
name?
crunchy.
It's so crunchy. Are you playing the drums on that?
Yeah.
Quick hands, keyboards?
Use the old drum machine because I didn't have a keyboard that sounded good at all.
The chords.
So it was
Yeah,
hitting
wow.
the chords on the old drum machine that had the
Wow.
pads on it.
Sounded pretty funky. I liked it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the breakout star of the podcast medium. That is Chris L. We are Pot of Thunder, and we are here another Monday in October. Just somehow digging deeper.
That's the goal.
Subterranean levels. I don't even know what.
Anything we can do that's dumber than before.
Yeah, some geologist out there can tell us how low we have gotten.
What period have we dug to?
Yeah.
I have some slow down Andy news.
Oh,
from
good.
the
Man,
past
he's
week.
up to a lot these
Well,
days.
you know,
it's like every week.
Well, let me just read it. Slow down Andy pointing to either BC Dirt Mile or Classic.
Hopefully it's not BC Dirt Nap anytime soon.
If he breaks an ankle, oh boy.
Actually, they left a word out. I think it was the BC Butt Dirt Mile. It's be more slow down Andy speed. Anyway. Anyway. Recompose myself here. All right. Excuse me.
Nick's losing it.
Butt Dirt Mile. I don't know why that got me. It did.
Good.
Okay. It's a quick one here, though.
Sorry.
All right. Slow Down Andy is bound for a Breeders' Cup race at Keeneland on November 5th. We knew that. This is the new wrinkle. With both the Dirt Mile and Classic under consideration, trainer Doug O'Neill said on Sunday, and I quote, the aforementioned trainer, he's got options.
A horse. He has the only option he wants is to not compete in horse racing, and he can't have that
He
option.
wants to do whatever he has to do to have him feed him.
Yeah, just give him a big stalk of celery and he's happy.
and leave him alone.
Why would you choose either of those races over the Breeders' Cup? I mean, I'm just a cursory, meaning I have zero knowledge of horse racing, but I do know there's some prestige attached to the Breeders' Cup. Why would you take the Butt Dirt Mile
Here's my
and
guess.
Classic over that?
Do you want to win a smaller race or compete in a bigger race? That's probably the bet, or that they're trying to figure out what he should do.
It's got to be, do we win more money if we
Yeah.
lose the big race or
Yeah.
if we win the little race?
Yep.
Yeah. It's got to
So-
be money. They're
it.
squeezing him.
Poor
They're
Slowdown
squeezing
Andy.
old Slowdown.
That poor.
Nah, they're probably taking good care of him.
Well, better. I mean, you can be brought up on charges for that stuff. There's a picture of him.
He's a good-looking animal.
Yeah.
Look at that. Handsome boy.
Appropriately enough, number 2 in this picture. So
Does a horse keep their number? Is it
don't
race
know.
by race? That's probably race by
knows?
race. It's not like you're in some league and you have a number.
yeah, no clue.
Okay.
I don't know if they go by starting slot in the big gate that they roll out there or what.
It would
I know nothing about horse racing. I could care less.
I thought you were showing a picture of me at first.
Well, you know,
Same size.
same
big-
number 2.
big same number
Think
2.
about it.
Same golden brown skin.
Yep.
Also running in the Butt Dirt Mile.
Oh, Nick. What do you have over there in the foil?
Something just for Chris, because Andy
What?
already had some.
What do you mean?
Time for a baked treat. Baked treat.
So, I had a plan to make something this week. Then,
You had a plan.
beloved guest, 3-time guest on this podcast, our mom,
Oh.
says, "Hey, I made cheesecake," and she makes probably the best cheesecake. Andy, would you agree?
That looks good.
Delicious.
It's always been great. And so she made cheesecake. I said, okay.
Hell yes.
Basically.
So Andy had somewhat on the way over here, or he got his own?
I got my own earlier. My own
Serving.
separate serving.
Yeah,
But I ate it about an hour ago.
And Chris needs to try this cheesecake that my mom makes.
yeah.
So
I've not tried it before. I
don't-
thought you brought it sometime before.
I don't think I've ever brought it that she made before. I could be wrong,
It's
but
just basic cheesecake.
yeah, basic cheesecake with like a sour cream layer on top.
Uh huh.
Yeah, just classic, delicious.
Butt dirt cheesecake, maybe be the name of it.
That's what the crust is made
Yeah,
from.
I was gonna say the crust could pass as a butt dirt crust. Oh yeah, it looks good.
Well, it's made by podcast legend
Yes, it is.
Chris Jones.
Just a legend in general, really. You don't want to limit her to podcasting
That's true.
legend.
That's true.
The real deal, if you will.
All right, so back to the list, right?
Yeah,
Nick-
how is this working again, Nick? Give us a refresher.
So, Nick
2
threw
weeks
out
a-
a challenge, I guess.
2 weeks ago, I said, I don't know what I'm going to pick for the spooky, weird, etc. month that we're having.
Right.
And I said I wanted to pick something off the list, and I thought it would kind of liven things up, freshen it up a little if I just said, I'm only going to pick a song submitted like from 2 weeks before the episode and up until the day of. And got like 130,
Incredible.
which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I wanted to, again, thank everybody. I had a good time.
and you're going to send
checking them
each and
out.
every one an item? Was that what you
Yeah,
agreed to?
I mean,
Oh.
probably.
What was that, Nick? Okay.
I'm going to send them we're gonna get a bus and I'll go to the butt dirt derby or whatever that's called.
You're gonna slap hands with all of the listeners at the butt dirt derby.
We're gonna all bite our tickets after we lose the bets.
The best.
So yeah, I had a lot of good ones that I was. Some of them I knew, some of them bands I'd never heard of. A lot of them bands I had, maybe songs I didn't know. Just
Yeah.
and it was cool to have it concentrated as like, okay, it's for this month.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a common theme.
Uh-huh.
So it was cool to cruise them and listen to some, and yeah, made a decision.
Okay.
And it's an artist that we have featured more than once.
Wow.
And I was like, I had to pick this song. I just think it'll make for a good episode. I think it fits the criteria in a couple of ways. There are actually 2 songs submitted by this artist.
Wow.
One song, in my opinion, is one of the best hard rock songs of all time. I
Okay.
didn't pick that one though.
We're not getting the good
Well,
one.
and it's actually like the theme of it and everything is perfect for this month. But I didn't know that it would make for a particularly interesting conversation.
Yeah, that's
I thought it might have just been, at least from me, it would have been this song's awesome the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Are
else.
you going
I
to
would have said.
reveal what that is?
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
But I
Alright.
went with the other one. The song's a bit more. I don't know. It's just a bit more. I
Okay.
would say.
A bit more. That's good for us. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's turn the microphone over to Chris Jericho.
All right, Harold. This one's called
Hellcat,
Off of
Virgin Killer,
by the band.
Scorpions.
Ow!
It's like this is the second that we did Kiss. Very interesting band. Scorpions are just like they keep coming back.
Can't get rid
For
of him.
for this format of a podcast, Scorpions are perfect because they've been around so long. They went through some sonic sort of changes,
Yeah.
lineup changes.
What's their first album? 60s? Late 60s? Or is it-
I think so, and they had a lot of different lineups.
Yeah. Right.
Like I think Klaus and Rudolph quit. I could be wrong. I read this years ago that I think they quit the Scorpions, started some other band. Some guys who were still in it came back, and then they called it Scorpions again. I don't know. There was some kind of history like that.
Wow.
But-
I didn't know.
But
that.
they've been around for a long time. This song from 1976 features Mr. Uli John Roth
Okay.
on lead vocal.
Oh, boy.
And he composed it and, lead guitar and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, the title of it works for this month. And I think audibly what goes on in this song, there's more than one moment where it makes sense to have this in Spooktober.
Okay.
The other song was Sails of Charon,
Oh, yeah.
which is one of the absolute great hard rock songs
Yeah.
ever.
Which I hope we get an episode at some point. But also,
Yeah.
you're right. It might be hard to extract any humor from
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, I mean, and it's great. Like the concept behind that song, fantastic. It's just an awesome song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know that it would have made. We'll find out shortly.
Yeah.
I think Hellcat is a more fun episode.
Okay.
And I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with it. Are you?
No.
I'm not.
No. Okay.
No.
Good.
So this is 76.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and it was submitted on the list, by the way. So I don't know if you're able to go down toward the bottom of the list and find it and give credit. If that's okay.
Well, yeah. I mean,
course.
isn't that by nature how you solicited it? It had to be on
Yeah.
the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
And why did you pick it for the theme? How does it fit the theme?
Well, I mean, the title is very, fits in with the Halloweenish type of vibe.
yeah.
And I think I won't get too specific, but just elements of the song, the recording, I think work with the sort of odd, weird kind of a vibe.
Okay.
And lyrically too. There are lyrics that would, it makes sense for this type of month. I could see this being on someone's Halloween playlist.
Like your own?
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. So, yeah.
All right.
And I don't want to get too far. You guys have never heard it, so I don't really want to like impose any opinion I have.
Right.
At
Discuss
this point,
it with,
but,
during as the
yeah.
song goes through.
But I
What
think
are
it
you
fits.
What are you doing over there, Andy?
I'm looking. Oh, it's on the list twice. It's on the list from, I think, a couple years ago, and then from last week. Yes. Yep. So I'm just looking to see. Yeah, from 2021, August 2021. Bill Lukash put it on the list. I don't know if you saw that as well. Nick.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did know that it was on there before too.
So Bill said, "Hi guys, I'm submitting the song Hellcat by Scorpions to the listener submission list for a few reasons. First, I love Uli John Roth. Why would this be here? Uli John Roth era. There was a box in the way. Era Scorpions, and this song in particular is a hidden gem. UJR is a great guitarist. His skill is on full display. Second, he's an underrated vocalist. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Very good.
Chris just
I don't know about all
shook
that.
his head.
but
We'll
We'll
see.
find out.
All right. Third, some Scorpion songs from this era can have rather cliche lyrics. This one has quite creative and thoughtful lyrics. This really stands out in the Scorpions catalog. Thank you for your consideration."
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And then the new one, not Hellcar. that's somebody else. Corey Schlesinger, right? Yeah. And let's see. A masterpiece from a classic album. Uli John Roth shows off his guitar and vocal skills on this revered Scorpion song.
What?
Oh, so he put it says his website, ulijohnroth.com. And I was like, why did he put that there? That's weird. But then he says, I hope you check out his website and read about the Alpha experience. Did you do that, Nick?
I did.
Does that mean
Does
anything
that
to you?
factor into the theme at all?
No, that's more of a package, like a fan interaction package.
Oh, okay.
It's
Like for when he's touring. He's got
yeah,
something
and
called the Alpha.
and it looks like there's something where you can go to the studio while he records.
And you can pay X amount of dollars to be an alpha with him. Whatever that means.
Whatever that.
Yeah.
Go run in the town like a couple of alpha males. I don't know, but yeah, everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Everybody's.
Everybody's giving you the chance to hang out with them
Where
for
the
more money.
is
Got-
meet and greet and all this stuff. I mean, that's
You got to pay bills.
Yeah.
Not making any money any other damn way.
No,
Selling
definitely
records.
not. All right, so 1976,
Mm-hmm.
we have something. Hit it.
Oh my!
Oh my goodness. Son of a bitch.
Come on. Get it right.
Time for Pope stuff.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, that Pope stuff. Here's some Pope stuff. Time for Pope stuff.
All right, this one is about Philadelphia, the town where the home of the Caruso brothers. Our buddy Christopher Camarado, who's putting together the Pot Against Humanity card game. Which I can't wait for that. That's actually happening.
Really?
It will happen.
Oh, that's not just an ongoing gag. He's actually going to
Oh,
compile these.
I'm collaborating with him. We're going to make it happen once we get enough material.
That's exciting.
Oh, it is, yeah. I told him that's going to be my personal legacy in this world.
Okay.
So I'm bankrolling it if I have to. It will happen.
Wow.
Anyway, great city, Philadelphia, giving rise to those potheads, and we also have connection to the 1976 Pope stuff. So in 1976, Philadelphia was the site of the Roman Catholic Church's 41st International Eucharistic Congress. And it was designated as such the previous year by Pope Paul VI. That's it.
Okay. That's some Pope stuff.
Yeah.
How annoying would it be to live in Philadelphia in 1976?
Well, yeah, the bicentennial and then this shit going on.
It had to be terrible.
Would it have been cool though? I kind of feel
maybe.
like 76. Didn't they have a thing on TV? They had like a bicentennial minute that people hated after a while. Where
Was it
they
every day? They had some kind of news?
I remember
something
that.
like
yeah.
that. I'd heard about it.
It was a daily thing.
I hope they fire
remember.
that up for the 250th coming up in a few years.
What do you call that?
What do you call that?
I don't know, but I hope they fire up something
Well, if there's, yeah.
something exciting because I missed out on the bicentennial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
felt a little
alive
cheated.
for it. I
felt
vaguely
cheated.
remember the bicentennial minute.
Yeah.
I don't remember people hating it, but that
Well,
doesn't surprise me.
In stuff that I'd read about it, and I think that people found it annoying after a while.
After 300 episodes or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
After 483 episodes, people had enough of it. All right. Well, are you guys ready to get into Hellcat?
Oh man.
All right.
I am.
Oh wait, I just looked up bicentennial minutes. It was its own show, apparently. A series of short, educational American television segments commemorating the bicentennial of the American Revolution. This might explain why people were annoyed by it toward the end. The segments were produced by the CBS television network and broadcast nightly from July 4th, 1974
Oh, my.
until December 31st, 1976.
That's way too much.
That's 2.5 years, for Christ's
Wow.
sake. No wonder people got tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants that many bicentennial minutes.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
segments were sponsored by Shell Oil Company, then later by Raid Insecticide from July 76 onward. Maybe people were literally sick from all the insecticide being associated with it. Who knows?
Was there like, you don't have to look it up, but were there like celebrity hosts that were on? I don't remember.
A drunk Dean Martin
Well, yeah,
breaking down the last 200 years.
Rich Little playing everybody.
That's good.
Yeah, I wanted to say yes, but I don't know. It was
76, huh? I'm guessing Sandy Duncan was in there. She was on everything.
Paul Lind.
Paul and
the entire cast of Welcome Back, Kotter. Horseshack gave a riveting reading of the October 8th, 1975 minute, I believe.
Freddie Boom Boom Washington
Yeah.
talking about
Oh,
his
man.
great grandfather.
He should have been He should have been the host of the whole series with a name like that.
Yeah, the guy was great.
Yeah.
Epstein got a note from his mother excusing him from doing it. Remember Mr. Woodman on that show, the principal? One of the great underrated characters in TV history.
I don't remember.
Oh,
To
yeah.
go back.
I vaguely do. I just remember
Constantly exasperated.
Kotter-
Kotter and you sweat hogs. What have they done now, you know? Constantly just exasperated by the whole gang.
and then Cotter always told his wife a joke at the end.
Yeah. See? Kind of like a bicentennial minute.
For
I
2.5 years.
I don't know if anybody gets sick of those, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Hellcat.
Andy stopped it.
Well, there's
You
a
want-
lot going on, but it's significantly quieter than
Yeah, it
everything
needs,
else
it
we're
needs a
running.
little juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's crank it up just a hair.
Yeah,
We're
show
gonna
some
start
respect to Uli John Roth here.
Yeah, I don't. That's like a. I'm not sure what to classify that type of riff as. It's very frantic.
Yes.
It's almost like something. It's like a CCR riff on steroids, like an opening of a CCR song, but way more all over the place and complex.
Yeah, my first impression was I was getting Crazy Horses vibes from it a little bit.
That's not a bad thing.
But then the second time I heard it, it was like it had more of a Robin Trower vibe to it, like a Two Rolling Stoned riff from Bridge of Sighs album. So little nod to that, who his whole thing during that era, Robin Trower's I'm talking about, was a nod to Hendrix, very Hendrixian stuff. So I'm getting a mix of the Osmonds and Robin Trower here.
Not bad. Yeah, now that you mentioned the Crazy Horses thing, I'm like, as far as the just production of it, I'm getting that sort of vibe, and this has got a galloping quality to it.
Yeah,
it's an interesting little riff, kind of a fun riff, not terribly serious, unlike the other Scorpion song that was on the list for this month. That's very serious and menacing. This one, not quite as much.
Yeah.
Now, are you familiar at all with Robin Trower, specifically the Bridge of Sighs album?
I'm aware of it, but
yeah,
have not dug into it.
The deeper we get into this so far, this could be an outtake from that album. Yeah, it's very Trower-esque.
Okay.
And I think that album came out in, I want to say, 74. So that influence sounds like it seeped into Uli John Roth's playing, but I'll look that up to confirm it, but I'm almost positive it was 74.
Fire in the rain, dust from the sky, things cold as ice, devil in the sky.
He's the Ace Frehley of Scorpions.
He is, yeah.
Similar.
I guess my question, what's Klaus doing? He's playing tambourine during this whole thing?
So, yeah,
he's writing "Slow Down Andy" around the outside of the studio.
So this song is on the Tokyo Tapes album, or at least an expanded version that I saw. I don't know if it's on the original.
Probably my favorite live album title of all time. I was always a big fan of that.
Great album cover too.
Yeah, with who's that? Rudy bending over backwards, doing the bridge position you learned in high school tumbling.
Very painful looking.
Physical ed class, yeah.
And during that version, Klaus and Uli trade off lines.
Oh, well, I mean, Klaus he's got to be involved a little more actively, I would think.
Now, this version, you don't really hear Klaus. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say, you don't really hear.
Oh, you
Klaus
don't hear him singing. Who knows what he's doing?
Yeah, you don't
from
hear
a
him singing.
Percussion standpoint.
Is there anything lyrically that we need to get into? I don't have it pulled up.
I don't know. It's fire in her eyes, burn, perfume of the skies, fingers cold as ice.
Another we talk about mentions of the word perfume in music history. We've had "Don't Stop Believin'," "Caribbean Queen," and now we have "Hellcat."
See,
yep,
the holy trinity of perfume mentions in rock or pop music.
And then fingers cold as ice, freeze.
Okay.
Devil in disguise.
Okay.
What she's saying, she's saying, what she's saying, she's saying, you know that she's
frightening.
Jeez.
That's sonically what I was talking about.
Yeah.
It fits into this month.
Yeah.
With just over the top effects on the vocals. It basically he's saying she's a Hellcat.
Okay, is that what he was he saying? She's a.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And then we're gonna get. This is 1976.
Mm-hmm.
He might he's a pioneer of I'd say a different musical genre coming up here.
Oh wow.
Coming up here right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, before there was before Dee Dee Ramone did it, Uli John Roth did it.
Oh my goodness.
So
Really?
yeah, and on the Tokyo tapes, it's cool to hear this part because he and Klaus trade off pretty well.
Like Run DMC.
So
All right.
You know that guy with picking in the eyes, talk to the face, what been through your life. But I'm over easy, kept on the beat, you try to get around, but it comes here live. You know that man with the rubber dad, pants his fingers yellow, blue, and red. And you also know that she's a liar, knowing only her desire.
That's cool.
yeah,
That's really cool.
A lot in there. So I don't understand what any of it means. I could read it to you guys if you want.
Well, if there's
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I didn't
All right.
decipher any of it, but the delivery was cool.
I heard
Yeah.
the word desire.
And I think it's even cooler to hear him and Klaus trade off on the other one. But
Okay.
that guy with the Piccadilly eyes was talking to the French boy, but didn't realize. Banana longboat eating. And he tried to get a wife, but he couldn't stay alive. Well, that lad with the rubber dad paints his fingers yellow, blue, and red. And
Lad with the rubber dad.
that lad with the rubber dad. And you know that she's a liar, knowing only her desire.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Is this song about a dildo? That's what I'm taking away from this.
is it
The Hellcat dildo.
Yeah, the rubber dad.
the rubber dad?
I think so.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be.
As we know, I famously invoked Scorpions references in my Spice catalog description for the Scorpion Stinger.
What did you say? You're going to be on the
Erotic
verge of
toy.
a blackout?
That was the closing
Oh,
line.
sorry. Jumped ahead.
The opening line was a pretty obvious one. This vibrator will rock you like a hurricane.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go for the easy
You got to get everybody
easy
in.
hit. Yeah.
Get them in the door.
Then they
But
get
yeah.
it. They get it at that point.
But yeah, I
What's
was
happening.
proud of the closer that, I think it was, it was shaped like a scorpion. Okay. And the scorpion tail was a string of anal beads that you run up your own backside, your own
And
butt dirt.
you're supposed to-
highway, if you will.
You're supposed to look at this probably pink or purple rubber scorpion and say, hey, I know what I should do with that thing. I got an idea for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it had the string of anal beads that you run up your own backside, and it was attached to a vibrating cock ring that, of course, you
Naturally.
wear over. Right. And so I, said, run the beads up your butt and activate the vibrating action on the cock ring, and you'll be on the verge of a blackout.
Well,
I was pretty proud of that
Yeah.
Scorpions reference.
so I had no idea. I don't think I'd ever actually seen this item, but until you just described it, I thought it was an item for a woman.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is a man's item. I didn't realize that. Okay. And since you brought up vibrating anal beads, have you guys been paying attention to the scandal in the chess world?
I have been. Yeah, I
No.
did get wind of that, pun intended.
So I don't know.
The chess world.
I've got about a one paragraph understanding of an accusation that's been made, but I don't know if it's been proven or not. But allegedly, there's a chess player, if that's what they're called,
Yeah.
who's being accused of having some vibrating anal beads in his butt, and through like
Where else would you put anal beads? But
Well,
I mean, like
you
while
can put it in your pocket
while
but-
he's playing.
yeah, but he's got it inside his butt,
okay, yeah.
and I believe, through some type of code, a Morse code style developed between him and a person.
Correct.
Cheating,
Yep.
that where they can vibrate it, and he knows what move to make.
See,
But the thing is,
I would think the move would be squirming if
This-
that happened.
see, this
but-
story is like a chess
Oh, you mean
game.
the chess move? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean this story is like a chess game where it's not just somebody doing something. It's this guy's planning ahead several steps.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right. He's so he's his whoever the other person is who's not playing the game is watching the game and using a computer to say what the next move is,
Right.
because even though this guy's a chess master, no one could beat the computer. So
Right.
the computer is telling him what to do, and the guy's buzzing it into the other guy's butt, and he's beating everyone.
Yeah.
So it's that scorpion thing Chris was talking
It
about.
could be.
So what if? Well, you know how you have the little switches when you look at stuff at the store. There's the demo switch.
Yes.
So if you do that, it might just be playing the riff from the zoo the whole time, and somehow that's dun, 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 dun. that And he might be. I'm sure that's Morse code.
Might be it. Wow, who knew? Code developed. But what a bizarre circumstance.
That's I mean, more outrageous than any sort of satire news site.
I know,
That,
right?
That's more outrageous
Yeah.
than anything they would come up with.
Even more outrageous than the competitive fishing outrage from last week, where
I didn't hear about that. What happened?
there's a video where some guy was caught putting lead weights in these fish because you win money based on the weight.
Yeah.
And all these people are like about to kick his ass, swearing at him. Because this guy had won competitions for a while.
Right.
So he stole everyone's money because he was winning. But they found lead weights in all the fish that he brought in. And he'd been doing it for a long time. He may be dead by now, based on how angry these people were in
So
the
how
video.
did they prepare these fish? And do they eat them? No.
I don't know.
Because if they eat them, that might be one way to make sure nobody cheats. Okay, we weighed the fish. Now we're having a fry.
Well, that's what happened. They cut it open and these big lead balls were falling out of them.
I wonder what he said. Did he try to defend it?
I don't think he said anything.
This lake
He
is
was probably-
very polluted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how this could have happened.
To all of my fish and nobody else's. I think he was slowly trying to walk away and they weren't letting him.
No.
Yeah.
This retribution day for him.
Yeah, not good. Yeah. All right, let's continue. What do you guys think?
The guy can play,
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Excessive whying, but that's okay.
Again, I'm familiar with Uli John Roth. I know what he looks like. He's got that Swan guitar or whatever it is with like 1 million frets on it. But I never really delved into his playing, and you know, like I said, it's very Trower, Hendrix influenced.
Well,
Which is not a bad thing, but you know, if you listen to anything Hendrix, especially probably Electrical Ladyland and then Bridge of Sighs era Robin Trower, it's all there.
And you mentioned Hendrix a couple times, and I remember our buddy Phil telling me this a while back, and in preparation for this episode, I looked it up, and I don't remember her name, but the woman who was with Hendrix the night he died,
Yeah.
Uli married her after that.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
that's. I don't know if they're still married, but
kinda weird.
they got married. Yeah, that
I had no
ended up
idea.
being his wife.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
actually, I'm not sure if she's still around. Actually, I think she passed away. So, people who are more familiar, don't worry. story straight now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure she passed away. But they were, he actually married the girl who was with Hendrix, and the playing. I mean, there's a lot of Foxy Lady moments, I think, in this song.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Hendrix comparisons, I hear them too. I'll have to get more into Robin Trower. I know I'm familiar with him, but have not sat down and like tried to listen to an album. Or
Bridge
anything.
of Sighs is where you should go first.
Okay.
It's a classic.
I will.
If you're digging what Uli's putting out on this, you will enjoy Bridge of Sighs
Okay.
very much.
What is it called? Bridge of Sighs?
Bridge of Sighs, yeah.
Like SIGH.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's an actual Bridge of Sighs somewhere.
Oh, I thought it was SIZE. I'm like, what is
No.
that supposed to be? I honestly was thinking Bridge of Sighs. I don't know what Bridge of SIGHS is.
Bridge of Sighs is the name of the anal beads the Chess King is using.
That's the move that he's putting, that he's perpetrating. He just pulled off the Bridge
Yeah.
of Sighs on that.
The
guy.
Bridge of Sighs gambit. Oh my God. Only the computer is capable of the Bridge of Sighs gambit. How is he doing it? But no, you will enjoy that album immensely
Okay.
if you're a fan of what's going on in this.
Okay,
cut.
yeah. I mean, from the Scorpions albums that I've listened to back then, and I know I've seen some videos of him still playing. He's a master guitar on the guitar.
Oh, yeah. There's
He's
no
one of
doubt
those
about
guys.
that.
He's up there with Richie Blackmore and people like that in this sort of style, like a Hendrixy, Richie Blackmore-ish kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Hendrixy classical.
Yeah, I guess
At times, combination.
I think isn't he one of the guys who gets early credit for the neoclassical
I think he's at least
style?
an influencer of that.
Well,
Yeah.
and again, not to bag on Uli, the guy can clearly play, but I would say given the time frame and when he came out, if he's delving into what we're obviously hearing, he's playing as derivative / influenced by Hendrix and Trower. If he dabbles into the neoclassical, he'd be influenced by Blackmore. And you trace all that neoclassical stuff back to Blackmore. There's no question about it. I think the purveyors of the Deep Purple podcast would back me up on that. But yeah, that's really where it all originates. So, not to slam him, but he doesn't get the credit because he's not really the originator of it.
No, and you can't, in the world of guitar, if somebody's doing something new and it's getting some attention, he's not gonna for very long be the only one doing it. So
Yeah.
that's just the nature of it.
From the sky, face gold eyes. Devil in disguise. She's
That Devil in Disguise line, the way he delivered it, it cracks me up when I hear it because it's so over the top, and it's very much like a severely intoxicated person
Yeah, that's
yelling
what I was
something.
thinking.
Like it's, I would say, I mean, he's not known as a vocalist, but for better or worse, whatever you take out of this is probably one of the least inhibited vocal
That's true.
performances I've ever heard.
Yeah,
That's true. He's going for it.
He's in that vein of, Blackmore never sang, but Hendrix, he was a serviceable vocalist, not what you would call a great vocalist. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Gary Moore, guys like that, known for the guitar playing, but they could sing and sang serviceably, and at times had moments of greatness. I think Uli is in that wheelhouse.
You're going to put him up there with possible moments of greatness?
Well, what we just heard, the devil in disguise, like
I
Nick
guess.
said, it's uninhibited.
Yeah.
He's as we talk about on here, he's not phoning it in.
He's not, no.
engaged. And,
But Nick also said it sounds like a drunk man
Well,
yelling.
which you know, and that's as uninhibited as it gets.
the Pete Weber style
That's
of
true.
vocalizing.
When was the last time a yelling drunk man cared who heard him or what he sounded like?
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's keep going.
She say, when she say, you know that she's a Hellcat. It's Elvis Crescent. You know the guy with Piccadilly eyes, talk to the French, but didn't realize. But not over easy, just all the music, you're trying to get around for the kunst. You know, like that with the rubber dab, Texas thing is yellow blue.
Is it Rare Bell drumming on this?
Yes.
lineup?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
pretty sure.
crisp snare work throughout this this song.
Great
Got it.
bass work too.
Is it Buchholz? Is he in
I'm
the
pretty
band
sure
at that
he's
point?
yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
It's pretty amazing transformation that these guys made from this style to what we became much more familiar with toward the end of the decade, and then of course into the 80s, leading up to the likes of Passion Rules the Game and Tease Me, Please Me, and all that stuff. You know, one of those bands that, geez, they originated in what, 1966 or something like that?
65.
65.
That's crazy.
Amazing how long they've been together and the various incarnations and musical styles. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, they latched on to the hard rock style and stuck with it ever since. And of course, they one of those handful of 70s bands that was able to parlay that, you know, blend in with what was going on in the 80s in the hard rock
Yeah.
world and pull it off.
They were one of those artists that growing up in the 80s, I knew of them from like an MTV era,
Yeah.
but going back and seeing their 70s and even earlier output years later it's very very strange at times, very cool, very odd, very interesting. That you know, kind of like you know, you had Genesis, Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, all the MTV era stuff,
Yeah.
Sledgehammer, all that kind of thing, and then seeing what they were up to in the decade prior, it's you know, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
A lot of people had
That's a-
that
that-
resurgence in the
That's
80s.
that's actually a good comparison, oddly enough, to Genesis, because, I don't know, they were just doing against the grain kind of weird stuff in the 70s and then became a pop act
Yeah.
in the 80s and were good at it and hugely successful.
Yeah. You know what? Rudy Lenners is the drummer on this album.
Oh, really?
Yeah. According to the, you know, it could be Jack Noseworthy. You know, not necessarily
Oh, yeah.
everything on Wikipedia is correct, but that's what it says.
Okay.
Noted slide whistlist, Jack Noseworthy.
So maybe on the next album.
Next album, Taken by Force,
when
is-
Herman was
is
on there,
Herman
because
for sure.
he's on Sales of Charon. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we got a little bit more to go here, not much.
When you also know that she's a liar, now we only her desire.
There you go.
Wow.
All right.
Sort of a Black Sabbath-y ending.
Speed up the tape thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he delivered that last desire. Like that could be in a wrestling promo. That's how emphatic he's delivering this.
Yeah.
Kind of sounded like Dusty Rhodes with that sooner or later explosion that you sent out.
That's it.
I got some mileage out of that on my own Facebook page.
That's a great one.
Hilarious.
A song Dusty Rhodes could have delivered.
Yeah.
Could have done the middle section, the rap section. Okay. Well, Nick brought it to the show.
Good.
Nick, your turn to vote. Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch.
A very nuts, bizarre, bonkers, Sweet Surrender.
Oh, you scared me.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, the first time I heard this song, I thought this has to be a Pot of Thunder episode at some point. It's so outrageous.
When was the first time you heard it?
A few years back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you were already familiar with it, and when you saw it submitted.
Yeah, and then as soon as I saw it on there, I'm like, yeah, that's the one.
Now's the time.
No, and I apologize to all the people who submitted Alice Cooper. He was the fan favorite with the submissions.
Yeah.
Love Alice Cooper, but when I saw this song on there, I thought it's so out there sounding. Like this is the one I want to go with.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a crazy, super lively, just really aggressively performed song.
Yeah.
And you gotta like that, even if it comes off as a little silly in moments, which I think at times there's a comedic value to it, but it's great. It's got great riffs in it that during the solo, cool riff that wasn't in any other part of the song, playing in the background. And unfortunately Klaus was not on it, but anybody who's not familiar with this song or the live version from the Tokyo tapes, rest assured you can get your Klaus fix if you go to that.
Now,
one.
is the live version, do they stretch it out a little bit, or they stick pretty much close to the script?
I think there's some sort of long instrumental outro
You'd
thing.
think so. It would
Yeah,
lend
I think-
itself to that.
Yeah,
you know?
but they bust right into the song, and yeah, Klaus I think might be playing a cowbell.
Oh,
There you go. That's
If I'm not
his
mistaken.
other percussion choice.
So
Tambourine and cowbell, handheld cowbell.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah. It's hard to find fault with much of anything that Klaus does.
yeah, and despite his relative absence on this one, it's great. Love it. It's nuts. I think it's bizarre enough to be featured on
Well, it's your
an
show.
October show.
If you felt it should be included, it's included. It's your show.
And the panning during the vocal, like some of those
yeah,
when he's saying Hellcat during the chorus, how it's panning and it's just over the top with
flange and whatnot.
reverb, delay, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, those are classic late 60s psychedelic studio tactics.
And I'm assuming that because that technology was still relatively new. It was kind of like, hey, I think the Beatles did this and some other bands at the time. It's like the whole drum set could be the only thing in the left channel, 100%.
Yeah.
Everything else, 100% to the right. It's like, it's not a great sound overall, but I'm sure at that time there was a novelty and a freshness to the idea of being able to do that a lot of people did it. Listening to some of that stuff now in headphones is a little weird. But,
Yeah.
But it's like it's a new toy.
Right, the stereo panning and most stuff was just strictly mono, and then when the stereo capability came out, people used it to the extreme, and then eventually sort of balanced it out. I mean, as we know, the first Van Halen album, the guitar is hard panned to one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're riding in a car and, half one of your speakers is blown, it better not be the one with the guitar channel in it. Otherwise,
Was it bass 100% on one side and guitar, or was it bass on both and guitar was just...
I don't remember right away, but
It's such an odd decision,
yeah,
but whatever.
it worked.
It worked for them, sure.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Sweet Surrender, yeah, sure.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, it's just it's a fascinating look into a period of the Scorpions that, is not indicative of what they became and what they achieved massive stardom with, but Yeah, like I said, the Trowerisms, the Hendrixisms are all there, and it's the influences are obvious. You could say derivative, but it's still cool. He's put his own stamp on it, and he's into it, both vocally and playing. So, when somebody's delivering that level of energy and conviction, it's kind of hard not to like it, really.
Yeah. I too will give it a Sweet Surrender.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Wow.
Fun song. I don't think, maybe it's possible you sent it to me at some point and I listened to it and enjoyed it and never added it to any kind of playlist. I don't own this album. I don't think I've heard anything else from it either when I was just looking through the names, but the whole album's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's this one, In Trance, and Taken by Force.
Those three in a row. It's In Trance is first.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Taken by Force is 77.
Yeah, and that would be the end of this Uli John Roth era, I believe. I think Taken by Force was the end for him.
Was he there at the beginning?
I don't think so. I think there was like a merger. I don't remember the whole band history, but there was something where there were a couple bands who kind of got friendly, and then some guys left, and the guys who stayed became this version of the Scorpions.
Yeah. That's right. First album was Lonesome Crow 72. They got together in 65, but the first album is 72. Yeah. Oh, it's the Shanker Brothers on the first one. Right. And then how weird is that Fly to the Rainbow cover?
How weird is every cover that they've ever had?
I guess I shouldn't even have brought that up considering
this album.
Yeah. Weirdest.
Yeah.
Regrettable moment.
It's don't understand. I guess looking back, it's completely unthinkable.
Yeah.
To have an album cover like that.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I guess it wasn't as unthinkable because there were several people who did it.
Yeah. What, the shirtless band?
No, it's a naked, 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
They went like a blind faith.
Right.
Like why?
Yeah.
Well, because they were perverts. They were subhumans.
Well, and I remember reading.
It's true. Why else would you make that choice?
Think of all the things you could put on there.
I remember reading that the Scorpions themselves were just like, we didn't even know what the cover was going to be. Who knows? But
I would say the same thing.
It was just like, somebody else at the label
stick
took
to
care
that
of it.
Story.
I would tell the same lie in interviews later.
Blame it on somebody else.
Yep.
Unless they can prove otherwise, just stick to that story.
Yep. Sorry, Nick. Was that all you were going to
That's
say
all.
about it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, who would have thought? That's the wrong one.
Jesus.
Andy feels strongly about it.
Hammond! I got a question for you.
All Stanley needs to know.
Should Destroyer have a song like Hellcat on it? That's what he wanted to know.
Were they capable?
Should Rock and Roll Over?
Yeah.
Should we get Uli John Roth to replace Ace Frehley
I'm sure it was thought
in
about for a while.
1978?
Every once in a while you see a story like that and you're like, how many of these stories are there?
A lot, yeah. Like JJ French almost joined Kiss. It's like,
Who didn't?
who didn't?
I
at
feel-
that point?
I refuse to believe that he was even in the consideration for that.
I feel like it's one of those things where you might run into those guys back then and they probably had a fun night and somehow the takeaway was, oh, they wish I was in their band. And then over time it becomes, they wanted me to replace Ace or whatever.
And of course, the best example is Metallica wanted Hulk Hogan to replace Cliff Burton.
I always forget it was Cliff Burton. It wasn't Newsted.
I think
Which
it was,
is even more absurd.
Right.
Well, I mean, it wasn't when Newsted left. You know,
Oh, I mean, that would be less absurd, though.
would it?
I don't know.
NWO era, Hogan might have fit better.
I think that
Well,
would.
it's just I think Andy's coming more from a place that Cliff Burton was a legend. You know, Newsted was a great replacement, but you know, it makes it's less of a reach. It's a huge reach in any capacity, but it's less so to replace Jason Newsted with Hulk Hogan.
It's like
So was it
it's like,
80s?
it's like Dana Strum recommended Hulk Hogan
Right, yeah,
to
right,
Ozzy
exactly.
after Randy
do you
Rhoads
got?
passed away. Got Jakey Lee and Hulk Hogan.
Was
Is that a real thing? I mean, do people actually believe that? Or does
Hulk
the
Hogan
band
has
say
Hogan
so?
said it.
He said it. I think Metallica kind of denies it, right?
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Even if it's true, you deny it.
Although at this point you say yeah. You say it was down to Les Claypool or Hulk Hogan.
Was it? I'm sorry, I should know this. 87, is that the correct year?
86.
86.
I think, is when he passed away. Yeah.
And then, and they replaced him right away. I'm thinking there was a period of time, but they were back on the road right away.
I think, yeah.
Like within a couple months, I think. Okay, so 86. Yeah, that's that's between WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 3, so that would have elevated their profile
That's
quite a
true.
bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they would have had more to gain than he would have
Yeah.
at that point.
that's true.
Well, would they have, though? They would have torpedoed any credibility they had. I mean, you know.
Imagine Anesthesia with Hulk Hogan on bass
Yeah.
with the wah pedal. Could have happened.
Could have happened.
Should have happened. Could still happen.
Well,
It's never too late.
Metallica
until
likes to do special weird things to please the fans.
the next
I s-
Orion Festival.
I say we get this happening.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Like
They can get Jimmy Hart to come sing Until It Sleeps or something.
yeah, he could do the Marianne
Yeah.
Faithful.
There you go. With his megaphone.
finally playing live cuts off the Lulu album. He could do the spoken word Lou Reed style.
Love it.
So many great ideas.
Yeah.
Will they listen?
Apparently not.
Well,
Maybe.
they-
Well,
Big
maybe.
mistake.
Metallica should listen to us. They clearly need career advice from the likes of us. So.
Yeah. All right. Are your votes in?
Yeah, mine's in.
Mine's in.
Mine is in. Nick, Chris, Andy. We'll just go. That's standard order.
Or Chris, want to go first?
It does matter. I mean, my vote's in. So,
Okay.
So much suspense, Bill.
Andy, just establish the order.
Nick, Chris, Andy.
Okay.
Rock.
Roll.
Boner.
Oh my goodness.
It's a rock and roll ball, Who do you think you are? I am.
See?
Get it right.
Uli John Roth-esque outburst.
Exactly. I mean, you had to vote it up just so you could make that connection. if no
I
other
think
reason.
it's a great song.
Well, it was included on Tokyo tapes. Clearly,
Yeah.
they thought highly of it.
You know, it was really the Hulk Hogan discussion that put me over the top. It just got me in a mood where I wasn't saying no to anything.
I had no idea that anybody claimed that he was in the running to replace
Well,
Cliff Burton.
he claims it. I don't remember if like Lars.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
For even
And-
anybody, including him, to claim it is just so patently ridiculous. It's like one of those things where, you know, you say it and people believe it. And it's just so patently ridiculous it shouldn't be believed, but it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I have to look it up now and get all the details. But in the meantime, if you disagree with us, we're sorry.
That's just the fucking way it is.
So Hulk Hogan, here's a quote. I used to be a session musician before I was a wrestler. I played bass guitar. I was big pals with Lars Ulrich, and he asked me if I wanted to play bass with Metallica in their early days, but it didn't work out.
Now, is he talking like pre-Ron McGovney early days, or where's the Cliff Burton, post-Cliff Burton thing coming in?
I don't know. So then Howard Stern asked Lars about it. Lars's response was, "Hulk who?" He said he'd never met the guy.
He was big pals with you.
He's big pals. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have
major
quit.
discrepancy in those two stories.
Blabbermouth story, January 25th, 2013. Hulk Hogan. I would have quit wrestling in a heartbeat to join Metallica.
What year though? Yeah.
I'm thinking it's very early, pre-Ron McGovney era. I mean, you don't release Master of Puppets and then bring Hulk Hogan into your band. You just simply don't do it. A session musician. What sessions did he play?
That
on?
I'd like to know. I'd like to hear those.
James Hetfield says, I don't know Hogan's version of history. I don't remember him. What is it? He was in the band for a minute? And then it says the interviewer explained the situation. He says, definitely not. But anyway, it's a good fit, yeah? Then it says, laughs. He makes us look very small. So there you go. All right.
Yeah, something's not right with that.
I think he was right. I think Hogan was right.
I think he could have fit.
It would have been great.
I mean, you think about it. You got it. Alice Cooper came up in the conversation. You got Kane Roberts over there on stage with Cooper.
Bring him in. Bring Hogan into Alice Cooper.
Get it on. Well, or Metallica gets in on that.
Yeah. Well,
Get some giant buff dude to play.
if I was Hulk Hogan, I would say the door's closed on you, Metallica. Don't come crawling back
At
to me
this
now.
point, yes.
Yeah, bounce Trujillo and bring in Hogan at this point.
Oh, if I was Hogan, I would say, too bad, Metallica, you lost your chance.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
though. That, if they were to decide to make that move and suddenly they're without either of those guys, they'd be in a tough spot. But
Yeah. What's Hulk Hogan up to these days? You don't hear much from Hulk Hogan at all
No.
anymore. I'm sure he's still up to something.
Always.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Nick's favorite part of the show. You ready, Nick?
Commercials.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
Terrifying savings
Oh, yeah.
this month.
Yeah.
Just ghastly price cuts from this place.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Well, now's the month to do it, right?
Yep.
Well, spend your money with that great sponsor.
Over there.
And you know what time it is, Nick?
Yards of questions. Motherfucker, I give them!
Swing away.
Yes, Chief.
I'll wait here. Hulk Hogan. Here's a headline. Hulk Hogan. They wanted me for the Montezuma Monroe
I was gonna
role
say,
any
yeah.
given Sunday.
Similar mustaches, didn't they? Or am I not remembering?
That could have
it?
worked. Hogan
No.
could have been just an out-of-control football coach.
yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't cast in that movie in some capacity, based off his Thunder Lips performance in like Rocky III. I wonder if Jim Brown was ever considered to be the bass player in Metallica. Because he was a session guy before he got into football.
A session guy.
Out of here with that. What a flat out lie that is.
Part of the Wrecking Crew.
I was a session musician. No, you weren't. Straight
I was in
up
the World
lie.
Powers and the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. Absolute lie.
Any good ones?
Yardo questions or Hulk Hogan lies?
Hopefully they go together somehow. What's your favorite Hulk Hogan lie?
I mean, there's probably a lot.
Asked by Lance. Is Lance back?
Has he returned?
What happened to Lance?
There's
Who's Lance?
I just looked it up. Lance was a guy who had a couple good yards of questions.
He
didn't
came out of the gate swinging. It was
Yeah.
pretty great.
A compilation of lies that were allegedly told by Hulk Hogan over the years. That's something to put a pin in for later. But let's get to this Yardo questions. This one comes from Wilhelm.
Okay.
Right into
Simply Wilhelm.
it. Simply Wilhelm.
Well, I mean, we got a German band
yeah,
featured
Yeah,
today.
that makes sense. Yeah.
perfect. Right into it. Question 1. What's a life mistake you managed to find a silver lining in? And he gives an example. If it helps, I got a speeding ticket my first month of driving, which I deserved. I was listening to Ace Frehley speeding back to my baby on the way to my girlfriend's place, feeling like the king of the world. It was an expensive mistake, but nobody got hurt, and lesson learned.
Read the question again.
What's a life mistake you managed to find a silver lining in?
Well, I think the obvious answer for me is buying the cafe that my wife and I owned that led to me meeting you guys and has led to this very moment of being on this show. So,
Wow, that's true.
yeah, without that mistake of delving into coffee shop ownership, I probably would have met you guys. Possibly encountered one or both of you at Waltz at some point, but other than that, it certainly what's going on at this moment would not be happening.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. I don't know if that's a silver lining or if a butt
I
dirt lining,
was gonna say that. That's one of my favorites.
but a lining
It led
nonetheless.
it led to butt dirt. What was it? The butt dirt mile?
Yes.
Wasn't that Eminem in that movie?
Nick,
Life.
have you ever made a mistake?
Of course, every day.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? That's that celery sound clip today.
Yeah.
That was a life. That was a life mistake
I
that I
said the,
hope gets repeated every week.
One of the sets of lyrics from Can I Play With Titties I identified as our rock bottom earlier, that eclipsed it.
Oh, excuse me.
Especially in the context of it being my entrance music. That's
Yeah.
very dicey territory.
I mean, I'm trying to think of one in particular, but just in general, my sense of humor over the years when I was younger, specifically like, teenage, there was an antagonistic edge to it that looking back on now, I think rubbed people the wrong way.
I can see that.
And it's one of those things where you feel stupid years later. Even though I still say dumb things all the time, but I think in a less antagonistic way than I would have as a teenager. Thinking that was, people found it as funny as I did. Just that overall sort of attitude, which I probably just picked up from a movie or TV show or something, stand-up comedy or something that I saw. And, it's one of those things where you cringe when you think about it sometimes, but it does help to shape you. It helps to shape you in a way where you get out of it and you realize, oh, okay, I shouldn't do that. People are going to take that seriously instead of it's not coming off the way that I wanted it to. So yeah,
You clearly did not learn that lesson in any of your interactions with family members that you're talking about.
yeah, I'm still making that mistake. Nobody's perfect, but no, but yeah.
Progress, not perfection.
There you
as
go.
they
Yep.
say.
All right. Question 2. In the spirit of Halloween, if you had to be turned into a monster, which one? No limitations. Let your imaginations run wild.
Ooh.
Then it says psycho billionaires are technically monsters too, I guess. So really, you can go anywhere you want with the definition of
Psycho
monster.
billionaire. That's a good name for a Psycho Billy band.
That's true.
Let's see. Any monster from any movie or anything, huh?
Well, or any a monster you create here on the spot. It could be
Wow.
anything.
That's an interesting one. There are a lot of them. What would be the most fun sort of monster that you can, or the, I don't know, monsters I guess sort of have not superhero powers per se, but there's a sort
Well, there's
of
some otherworldly
there's
quality to them. Although he's saying that you could be a corporate bastard who ruins people and is a monster in that way. But I think you're thinking of the horror film science fiction version.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of that. Wow.
I would say some sort of, for me, maybe some sort of prehistoric, vicious, crazy sort of bird, I would think. There's some sort of something next level about descending on someone from above like that just, there's really no defense for it unless they have some sort of weapon, I guess, but they're not expecting it, and just this horrific being comes down on them from above. You pretty much have your way with a person in that situation. I would say some sort of beast that has flight, possibly with a prehistoric connection, sort of almost a pterodactyl vibe to it.
It's a good choice.
That is a good choice.
Having the power of flight also helps you escape situations too, if you have to.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with someone who doesn't have that power, you've got a decided advantage.
Yeah, there's a sort of there's either that, the ability, to escape, or a lot of the monsters, movie monsters throughout the years have an element of indestructibility.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, we can't do anything to stop this thing. Sort of, I mean, it's a little more modern. And there's a clip that Chris sent us last week featuring this actor who played this role. But it's a Spider-Man villain. It's the Sandman. That's a pretty cool power to have. I mean, talk about escape. It's very difficult to have somebody, when you can just turn into sand and blow away and then regroup later. Very difficult to get caught. And a lot of stuff you can do.
Yeah.
And Thomas Hayden Church was the actor in the movie. Chris and I and Andy were watching a clip from Sideways.
Yeah.
That he was in. Which,
but he was the Sandman. I did not know that.
And that came off of that because he was nominated for the Oscar, and when that happens, it's like you could be the next Spider-Man villain. You wouldn't have been before that. Just being Lloyd from Wings, you don't get that role. You're not gonna get that role, but you get nominated for an Oscar.
Okay, I didn't know there was that sequence.
Like, I think Jamie Foxx was Electro in one of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. He's
not going to do that unless he does the Ray Charles thing and wins the Oscar.
Yep. So,
yeah, I would say that the Sandman's that's a pretty awesome sort of a superpower, and a pretty, I'm sure, frustrating and terrifying adversary.
All right. Question 3. If everyone on your street had to carve a pumpkin for public display / judgment, what design would you carve into yours? What would be the ultimate pumpkin flex? Happy Halloween, boners. Love the show, etc. All the best. Thank you, Wilhelm.
Thank you, Wilhelm. That's a good one. I still carve a pumpkin every year,
You do?
and I try to just do something weird, like something it's not even based on anything, but just like a weird design or something like that. I've never done. You know, people have the ones where they have the stencil and the super small little carving knives, and it looks exactly like something, you know, or somebody,
Right,
and they
right.
shave parts of it
Too
so the light,
elaborate.
so it's a little bit translucent.
Right,
and
right.
I've never gotten that far, so I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna do that. But I did one a few years ago, just kind of tried it, and it worked. Where I made the eyes really big and then cut them into like a spiral, almost like a Twilight Zone spiral for each eye.
You know, go ahead.
And that one turned out well, so I would just try to see if I can recreate something like that. But I would not get super intricate, because that's just not my thing. And respect to people who do that, because I'm sure that takes a lot of effort. But
See, I was thinking spiral too, the exact same Twilight Zone vibe, but like a lot of people, when they carve out a pumpkin, the first thing they do is hollow it out from the inside. I would not hollow it out immediately right away. I would try to get that spiral to have some sort of 3D effect where it's going into the pumpkin, meaning you'd need some of that inside material to make that work.
and it would just go through to the other side.
Not necessarily. Maybe stop in the middle, but I don't even know if it's even possible. But that's just something that sprung to mind. It started as spiral, then I'm like, if you could actually have the spiral going into the pumpkin,
Yeah, that's cool.
like a 3D effect.
Yeah, I
that would
don't
be
know.
Cool. I don't know if it's possible, but that would be the ultimate pumpkin flex if you could pull it off.
There you have it. Thank you for your Yardo questions, Wilhelm.
And I did a pumpkin one time. It was a simple one, but you know how there's cartoon characters like Charlie Brown or something,
Right.
like as an example. You try, like, it's just simple looking, but you try to draw it, and if you don't get it exactly right, it looks weird,
Yeah.
even though it looks super simple.
Like if the spacing between the
Yeah.
nose and the eyes is wrong, it looks like something else.
Years ago, I did one that's a simple character like that,
Yeah.
but somehow got really lucky and absolutely nailed it. And it's the show that maybe neither of you guys have watched or heard of, but his character's name is Meatwad from the Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He's
Yeah.
just a meatball
Yeah.
with a face. And it's simple like that, but this one time it all lined up for me, and when you look at it, it's like, oh wow, it's that character.
Right away.
And it doesn't look weird, like there's nothing out of proportion. I just got really, really lucky.
You nailed it on a meat-wad
I
pumpkin.
did. I might have a picture that I can share.
We'll have to check that out.
If I can stop reading these Hulk Hogan Metallica articles first.
Yeah. How many pages of search results come
I mean, it's
up
basically the entire internet. This one here, I'm not going to read that. I don't know where that came from.
Which one? The
The
one in
second
the
to the
middle?
bottom.
Jeez.
I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
But
Read it, Chris.
Well, okay. Hulk Hogan joining Metallica. Quote, "We don't want him. He's gay."
exactly.
On a ringsidereport.com article.
Sounds like that might just be complete fiction.
Oh, the whole thing is complete fiction.
yeah.
What's the guy? It's made up. It never happened. Who is that guy?
Oh yeah, from
The Star Trek. what's the
Jonathan
show?
Frakes.
Yeah.
I
There you
couldn't
go.
think of it. Yeah.
What's the show that it was?
Beyond Belief, Fact or
Yeah,
Fiction?
they should. That should be on Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
Here's a beyond belief fact or fiction that this website is covering the story back in 2012. Hulk Hogan. Lars asked me to join Metallica, reports the Pearl Jam community.
Oh, wow.
Why? Who knows? The New Zealand Herald. I almost joined Metallica, says Hulk Hogan.
It's awesome.
This was a huge story
It was a big story.
and should still be.
It's the first I've heard of it tonight, and it's absolutely a lie. It never happened.
Well, you could see why everybody's, at the time, 10 years ago, was reposting it.
Well,
'Cause
it's
of course,
it's like
you're
the-
going to click on that if you see that headline.
It's like this fishing or chess story. Mm-hmm. What? You know,
Yeah.
like you read it and it's
Like, I need more
okay.
information here.
What happened?
Yeah. All right, if you want to submit a Yardo questions, go to potofthunder.com. Click not one, not two. What am I saying? Submit not one, not two.
Yeah, well,
You know,
cru-
click.
autopilot at this point.
It's what happened. I was looking down at my chapstick, not paying attention. 1, 2, 3 questions. Make a Yardo questions. Do that. Easy to do. Add some songs to the listener submission list.
Send Andy some salt and vinegar chips.
Oh yeah,
So it's got something to do with his chapstick.
my chapstick. Salt and vinegar chips.
See, there you go.
Yeah,
That's what the people want.
that is.
Live performance of those old lip balm videos.
Hotter than
And-
grape.
Well, that's the biggest thing to come out of this podcast.
Hotter than
is
grape.
the hotter than grape video.
It's up there.
It's funny. Well, I guess all of our best moments are completely stupid. So
Well, yeah.
That would be
all
one
of,
of
all of our moments are
Yeah.
completely stupid.
yeah, best and worst. Alrighty, we'll be back next week. More Pot of Thunder.
Can I play with titties? The perfect stare at his hairy ball. Can I play with titties? From this creep, she'll take it all. Can I play with titties? She saw my prick and she laughed at me. Ha! Can I play with titties? She said these tits you'll never see.